free will? Is there such thing as free will? Or is it just an illusion?
I already made a video about free will a few years ago, but I've noticed recently that a lot of people think free will is irrelevant for addressing climate change. And because I don't believe in free will, I've suddenly become a problem.
Now, wait a minute.
This is complete nonsense. But let's start at the beginning. And we begin, of course, with physics. Everything in the universe is made of 25 particles that, for all we currently know, are not themselves made of any smaller constituents. We collect them in what's called the standard model of particle physics. That's everything in the universe
Get to the point.
Possibly dark matter, but that's a different story. Most of those particles are unstable and decay very quickly. How can it be that causes have causes and they go back The future is determined by the past, except for random quantum jumps, which no one can control.
The future is determined by the past. If, as I hypothesize, everything that ever happened or ever will is happening this moment right now, the eternal now, and if that be the case, you can go back as far as you can, forever and ever and ever. Not just go forward in the future forever and ever, but go backwards forever and ever. That's another video. If everything in the future is determined by the past, as you both say, why can't it include the element of free will? But if it makes sense, why maybe Calvinism is true then? You can't get saved unless God predestined you to get saved in the first place. You will not even want to get saved unless God intervened when He created the universe. And keep in mind, when God created the universe, everything from the past to the future, forever and ever, is this moment to God. So God created the universe knowing who would be saved, who could be saved, who would even want to be saved, interjecting His grace at certain dots in this timeline of eternity so that people could be saved. That would make sense. Why is it some people hear the gospel and they don't want no part? Others hear the gospel, they want to get saved. Others hear the gospel, they might want to be saved, but they try to get saved. They beg God for salvation, but it doesn't happen. That would mean that God created the universe knowing who would be saved, who could be saved, and who would be saved. It makes for a rotten reality, but hey, if it's the truth, and you wonder why, if this is reality, why instead of just wanting to give my all to God and Jesus, I want my piece of the pie right here, where I can get it. When I can be popular, when I can shine. Because in the eternal future, the only person who's going to shine is God and Jesus and the Holy Ghost. This is my time to shine, and I want it now. If so much as one person other than God can get it, I want to be that person. I want to get it too, alongside of them, for my 15 minutes of fame. And if I can't have it, just let me be saved and let me die. Because life is not worth living if I cannot be a good-looking guy for a little while, have the long forms, have my songs lit, and have people listen to what I got to say and validating me. Have what makes me happy. Just let me die.
Causes have causes, and they go back all the way to the Big Bang.
They go all the way back to God. Look, God, the reality is like a number line. 0 being first cause, being God. 0 is the only number line. 0 is the only number in the number line that doesn't make sense, that transcends all the other numbers. From 0, you can go back to -1. On and on forever and ever. -1 went to -2, -3. And between -1 and -2, there's just as much space between -1 and -2, between -1 and negative infinity. You can go forward, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, forever and ever and ever. But between 1 and 2 is just as much infinity as between 1 and infinity forward. And between 1 and 1.1 is just as much space and just as many numbers between 1 and 1.1 as is between 1 and 2. Forever and ever and ever. Is there free will? I sure hope so. I sure hope so. But for that to happen, God has to make the universe with the input of our free will. Kinda helps co-creates with God, whether for good or for evil, until God in the end moves the number line towards moves all this towards His eternal glorification, towards Him, whether you burn in the lake of fire forever and ever, or bow before Him, before His throne forever and ever.